What's up, guys? Have we got a show for you today? We're going to be looking a little bit deeper into Microstrategy and is it good for Bitcoin? We're also going to be taking a look at the market, see where we're headed. Definitely stick around, watch the whole video to get the whole view. And don't forget, we have a free Discord group. There's a link down below in the description. Definitely check it out. Let's get into it. All right, guys, as always, this is not financial advice, this is not trading advice, nor is it investment advice. Don't forget, we do a free Ledger Nano S hard wallet giveaway. We do that every Monday. All you have to do to enter to win is make sure you subscribe to the channel, take a second, go down, hit your notification bell, get you notified when I post new videos, smash that thumbs up, and leave your comment down below. That will get you entered to win. And if you leave 500 in your comment down below, you'll also have a chance to win a $500 Prime XBT account. So let's get into it. Looking at this Fractal still in the Dow. We did get a little dump yesterday and managed to pump back up. And again, we made a new all-time high, it looks like, yesterday in the Dow. Same thing we were doing over here. This one seems to be taking a little longer to play out. If we manage to stay up here and get a new high, then Bitcoin may have another pump, because it usually moves with the stock market. As much as people don't want to admit it, it is still correlated. But if we do end up getting this drop, we could see something like we seen back in March. And a lot of times after the fact, you'll hear some news of another lockdown or whatever, who knows. But as you can see, we were making bearish divergence over here, higher highs in the price, lower highs in the RSI. Same thing we're doing over here. This one's obviously pumping a little bit harder, but nevertheless, still showing bearish divergence in the stock market. And looking at the dollar, as everybody has been saying, the dollar is dying. I still am not convinced of that. We have 11 hours to close this RSI back inside or on top of the wedge up here. We'll see what happens. I will keep you updated. We'll be looking at that tomorrow. But like I said, unless the dollar goes down below this 89.21, I'm going to remain bullish on the dollar. I do think it's going to play out like the Fractal over here. As you can see, even the MACD down here is playing out the exact same way. The RSI, same thing. So anyways, let's get into gold. Gold, we still have our target down here. Obviously, we're getting rejected at 21 EMA and the 200 EMA over here. So I have the target of 1736. And if that is to break, looking at the 1647 range, and after that, if that breaks, it could get real ugly. If we do get a bounce at this 1728, we could get a nice run up for the dollar. This could have been just an ABC correction. And again, we'll keep an eye on that. This is a chart I was showing in Discord last night. I talked about coming up to retest this before coming down to our target of 40,000. And that is just a measured move of this. And actually gonna be a little bit not quite so deep. If we do the measured move here, it's actually going to be around 40,000 40,700 40,800, somewhere in that range. But anyways, I'm still looking for this, of course. Unless we can break this back inside this channel up here, then we could possibly go as high as 57,000, and if that's the break, then we'll most likely make a new all-time high around the $60,000 range. But as of right now, we are still making, let's zoom in a little bit and see what we're doing. No divergence here as of right now. We'll look at the 4-hour and looking at the 4-hour, same thing. I had these targets for yesterday. We did break back above. We are getting rejected right now at the 55 EMA, so we're getting squeezed between the EMAs here. If we're able to continue opening and closing another 4-hour or so above this 50,800, my next point of rejection would be around the 52.6 area. And that's just retesting the top of this wedge that we broke out of and came back down, broke below. And then again, we have that major resistance up here at around 56 to 57,000. But I still believe it's very possible we're going to come down and see these $44,000 to $40,000 level like I showed you in the last one. And let's take a look at the 4-hour. Sorry, that was the 1 hour I was showing you there. if we look at the RSI here, it seems it could be forming an inverse head and shoulders and come all the way back up and retest this trend line on the RSI. If that's to happen, we could get as high as the $60,000 range, a little over 60,000. And that would be coming to retest this thicker white trend line here if we look at this as a rising broadening wedge. But if you look at the two thinner lines, we have a rising channel here, and the retest the top of that channel again would be around 53.7. We are getting nice rejections here at the EMAs. Well, we got 3 hours left. We'll see what happens here. If we can open and close a 4 hour above the 51.5, then we're most likely headed to the 53.7. And if that was to break, continue up. Otherwise, if we keep getting rejected here at this 51.5 area, we could come back down to retest the 200, which is around 44.5, then all the way back down to test the bottom of this channel. Now, the very bearish outlook on this would be if we do break this channel, and this moves depending on if and when it breaks, it would go higher. But if it was a pretty quick drop, we would, and this is not saying if we break the bottom of this channel, most likely come down, come up, retest it again before coming down. And this could be, you know, a year from now to hit this 13.3 range would be the measured move of that. Now, on the other hand, if we were able to break up above this 60,000, we could be looking to go as high as, and I'm going to go ahead and put a target up here. This would be the extremely bullish case scenario here. And that would get us to around the 83.9. If we can break above this trend line here, that's going to be a pretty heavy resistance if we do try to do that. But we're going to take a look at a lot more charts and a lot more ideas. So definitely stick around. But if you are interested in trading where you can make money whether the market goes up or down, definitely check out Prime XBT. They do not trade against you, by far the fairest exchange in my opinion. And you can trade crypto, gold, S&P, Dow Jones, Forex, all kinds of stuff on one exchange by just using your Bitcoin. I'll leave a tutorial on how to use their margin up top. Use my promo code SAVY50. That will get you 50% on top of whatever you deposit. So if you put it in a Bitcoin, you'll get half a Bitcoin to use towards your margin. You can't take it out, but you can use it towards your margin. And Savvy25 will get you 25% off of your fees. Now, Microstrategy. Let's go into this a little bit, and then we're going to go into the other Bitcoin charts I want to show you, and then we'll look at Litecoin and Ethereum. But Microstrategy chairman, and this is from 2000, and I'm going to also show you a chart. Well, I'll show you the chart real quick. This is the .com bubble. Either he's a FOMO buyer or he is tricking investors into coming into his stock before he sells. These are my opinions. You make up your own mind on what's going on here. Is it good for Bitcoin? Is it not? You can see what happened here. Obviously, his stock got really high, and it is dropping now. It got all the way up to around 1,300, and currently pre-market right now is 777. But I just want to go over a few things, and it sounds a lot like what's going on now. I could be dead wrong, but it's definitely worth looking into, and you should at least consider this. Michael Saylor, the chairman of Microstrategy, a software company whose shares price soared and then collapsed after the company was forced to restate its books and erase all the profits it had reported, was accused of fraud by the Securities Exchange Commission. He settled the civil charges and were filed in federal court in Washington, without admitting or denying them, and agreed to pay $8.3 million. So if you weren't guilty, you would have fought it and not paid the $8.3 million. Now remember that number, $8.3 million to the shareholders and $350,000 penalty to the SEC. Basically, you get a slap in the hand for conning people out of their money and pay a small percentage back. And we'll talk about that percentage he paid back too. But let's see what happened there. So what happened is the SEC commanded that Saylor and two other MicroStrategy officials agreed to pay $350,000 in penalties and to pay a total of $1.7 million to the shareholders he'd committed fraud to. So he agreed to pay 8.3 million. The SEC gave him the penalties and to pay 1.7 million to the shareholders and committed fraud reporting profits when the company was actually losing money. So I know everybody is looking up to Saylor and what he's doing. Basically, he's borrowing money from the banks right now to buy Bitcoin and push his stock up, but it doesn't seem to be working as well right now if you look at the stock. But anyways, let's look at what he did to get there. So back in 2000, the company announced that 1999 revenue hit 205 million, up 93% from the previous year, and those profits rose from 29 cents a share to 16 cents. A few days later, it was the host of a Super Bowl party with 5,500 guests. Now, sounds a lot like what's going on with Bitcoin with the host of his Bitcoin tutorials for CEOs or whatnot. He did that. He put commercials up. I think it was 4 commercials, but the Super Bowl pregame show included 4 Microstrategy commercials with a 5th broadcast during the game. So he's a good marketer. He was marketing it, right? And then people learned about MicroStrategies and started investing into MicroStrategies, raising his stock prices even more. On March 6th, the company notified the Securities and Exchange Commission. And remember, this is in a regulated market. Now he's playing in an unregulated market, Bitcoin. So on March 6th, the company notified the Securities Exchange Commission of the plans to sell a new issue of stock, including up to 1.9 million shares owned by Michael Saylor. Including, so they sold more, but 1.9 million shares owed by Mr. Saylor. 4 days later, the stock price rose to 333, more than 80 times the price when the company went public in 98. A few days later, it crashed. Saylor announced plans to donate 100 million, which he never donated. So he didn't keep his word. To the start of internet university that would provide free education for everyone on earth forever. Kind of like his free Bitcoin education. And guys, I'm not a Bitcoin hater. I believe in Bitcoin, but I believe we are going to see a massive correction. If it hasn't already started, I do think we are going to see a massive correction, but that's my opinion. But anyways, and again, we'll go into more charts and I'll show you what I'm looking at. But I wanted to go over this real quick with you guys. So anyways, so I hit the peak of 333 and that's when it took its dive. He had reported he was going to sell his 1.9 million shares owned by him, plus other shares by the company, but just his personal shares, 1.9 million, it was $632 million is what he made. And if we go back up here and see what he paid in fines, and that's what these big guys do, dude. They just pay a small fine. His fine was $803 million after he made $632 million. So he didn't get jail time, didn't have to worry about it. So why wouldn't he do it again? If he makes, $1 billion and gets fined $5 million, what's to say that's going to scare him away from it? He's going to make a buttload of money. But anyways, let's go dig a little deeper. If we go down here, where was it? Then he did the planned stock offering, just like he's been doing now, and he keeps doing this. It's like almost identical to what he did before. So my opinion is he's playing the same game. He found a new group of investors that are, loyal to Bitcoin. And when he started getting into it, they look up to him, kind of like McAfee. Everybody looked up to him because he was a computer genius. And when he was talking about it, you know the story. And if you don't, he was calling for $1 million Bitcoin, and he said he'd eat his own, what, if he lost. And he said that on national TV. So people really believed him. The top of every bubble always has the most bullish news and keeps everybody buying while the big guys get out. And then they do a dump like we seen yesterday, and they'll buy it up lower to make it look like a floor so people think it continues up. And again, this is just my opinion, but you do need to look at this stuff. You can hate on it or whatever, but if you're not if you can't take a second out and look at both cases, bullish and bearish, and really look at what's going on, then you probably shouldn't be investing, because you will probably get wrecked, because you'll either be full bore one side or the other. Anyways, that's what happened. And 3 of his officials, so the other people that are high up in his company, had to pay the fines too, which I'm sure they made millions and only had to pay a $350,000 fine. So anyways, do your own research, check this stuff out, but nobody's talking about this. It's something that needs to be talked about, needs to be looked at. If you're not doing that, it could get you in trouble. I mean, look what happened last time. This is when he sold his shares up here. And you can see what happened after that, guys. It was pretty ugly. He made a lot of money, and the people he got to invest in his company, that's where he took their money. I mean, that's what happened. And it could happen the same thing right over here where we're at now with Bitcoin. So be cautious and be careful, guys. And as you can see, Tether keeps printing away, just printing more money out of nothing. All right, let's take a look at, so this is, I have the fib channels on here, and this is the peak back in 13, peak in 17. A lot of people think we're right around in this area, going to have a small correction and continue on up, which is possible. And if that was to happen, if we did come up to retest this in the next year or two, could be around, whoops, that was not what I meant to put there. But the super bullish case scenario, like a lot of people are thinking, could be coming up to $221,000 Bitcoin or lower, between $150,000 and $200,000 Bitcoin. That is the very bearish case scenario. But as you can see, we did spike above this 0.236 fib right here. We got rejected here, came back down, retested the 21 EMA, where if we did that right now, would be around the 35,000, 35 to 40,000. And then if we come up and break, obviously we may be seeing the same thing. That's in the bullish case. But otherwise, if we remain getting rejected here, oh, and another thing I'm going to show you is the 3-day. We made a huge bearish engulfing candle on the 3-day. So it doesn't mean it has to go directly down. It's on the 3-day, so it could take weeks or months to play out bearish. But I will show you that in a second. But anyways, we did get a nice rejection up here around that 58,500, right directly on the 0.236 Fibonacci channel. So something to think about. And let's look at the 3-day here. Price is rising, volume's declining. And let's take a look at this candle. This is what I put on the thumbnail here. As you can see, that is the wick goes up higher than the wick of the prior candle. The wick goes down lower than the wick of and the body engulfs the whole body of the prior candle. That is bearish engulfing. You know, it's not saying we can't come up, test that 55 again or whatever and continue down. But as of right now, that is a bearish engulfing candle. And every other time, let's look at this. Obviously higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the RSI. That is bearish divergence. Now let's take a look. Let me get this volume off of here so we can see it a little more clearly. Okay, so if we look now at every other time we've seen a bearish engulfing candle like this on the 3-day. This is on the 3-day. As you can see, we had one right here, and you can see what happened after. We had one right here. We can see what happened after. And we had one right here. You can see it dropped quite a bit more. The top of this bearish engulfing candle was 10.9, and it dropped all the way down to 9.2. But we did have a prior one over here at 12,000, and it went down 9,000. So 25-30% correction. But anyways, as you can see, we had another one. Where's the other ones? We had another one over here, bearish engulfing on the 3-day. And you can see what happened after that. Bearish engulfing on the 3-day, same thing. See what happened after that. Oh, there's another one, bearish engulfing on the 3-day. You can see what happened to that. And see, did I have any more marked here? No, but there is more, but I just wanted to show you what happens after that. So be extremely cautious, guys. I know a lot of people are saying we're just going to bounce, continue up. I still think we're probably going to see around the $40,000 to $41,000 area, and I'm sure we'll get a bounce there. But do I think it's going to go to new all-time highs? It's possible. I'm not convinced. All right, let's take a look at the dollar overlaid on the Bitcoin chart. As you can see, every time the dollar bottoms on this trend line, Bitcoin is at or near its top. If we bring this up, every time the dollar tops, Bitcoin bottoms. So if the dollar continues to rise, like I believe it will for the next year or possibly two, when it does top out, will be the bottom of Bitcoin. So I believe Bitcoin will be coming down at that time. Like I said, I still believe there will be a 80 to 90% correction, and it doesn't have to be the top now. I still have targets up here at, well, like I showed you, all the way up to 85,000. It's a possibility, but every time you can see we had a rising channel, broke out of that, came down, and this time in 2017 it was an 85% correction, and we had a 72% correction after almost the same exact fractal, and this just seems to be excuse me, a much bigger fractal. Will we form a triangle like we did in 2017? Well, let's take a look at 2017's, and I've explained these triangles, and I'll kind of go over it real quick with you before we get into Litecoin and Ethereum. But as you can see, we have a big pump, and we could still see another major pump. I'm not saying that, like I said, you know, we could go as high as 85,000. Will it happen? Nobody knows. And anybody that tells you for sure this is happening, this bull run's going to continue to whatever, nobody knows. It's a guess when they're telling you for sure, because nothing is for sure. But anyways, as you can see, they did a dump here. They bought back really hard right here. The same people that dumped up here, I'm sure. And they just keep playing people until people quit buying. And that forms the triangle after the top. And the measured move of this triangle got us right down to our low over here. Same thing right here. Huge sells, buy it up, get people bullish. Huge sells, buy it up, get bullish. Sells, buy it up, get them really super bullish. Everybody's buying in again, dump on them. That creates the triangle at the tops. If we take a measured move of that triangle, got us down to our low over here. And we just seem to be doing a huge FOMO pump right here. And again, if we go higher, we can readjust these. As of right now, these lines aren't valid. They're not, you know, there's no guarantees here. But if this was the triangle and we did a measured move of that, could get us down to below. We always go below this trend line about, and that trend line's off of the second top of each one of these channels, the second touch of the top. We usually go down about 30% from that. And that would be around the 8,800 range. But this, like I said, this triangle could look many different ways, and all depending on what it does, if it creates the triangle where the bottom is. But as you can see, that could get us to many different places. But we will keep an eye on that. That's why I said make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll leave some tutorials up here too on kind of how to use EMAs in your strategy, some breakout strategies, and other ones too to check out if you're interested. But let's take a look at what I put this up yesterday too. As you can see, the funding rate's still high, still favoring the bears a little more than the bulls here. But what if, and this is just pure speculation, that this is a head and shoulders forming here and ending sometime in the middle of this year, and we end up breaking the neckline. That gets us down to about a $9,000 Bitcoin. And that's considering if this is the top. And if it is the top, a 84.5% correction like we had in 2017 gets us around the $9,000 range. So to think that 10,000, going below 10,000 is impossible, it is not impossible. Nothing's impossible. This is Bitcoin, and it usually takes the most amount of money from the most amount of people. Very few people make money off the top. I think I looked it up. It was like 6 or 7% of people actually make a lot of money, and most others, especially the people that are new and FOMO'd in, they'll ride it all the way back down. And if you're just investing and not going to touch it for years, I guess it's no big deal. But if you want to continue to make money, I make a living off of it, so I trade it on a daily, sometimes on a weekly basis. But anyways, let's look at Litecoin. So Litecoin, we got back above our support resistance line at 183. We're currently at 184. If we break down below this, we could come test this support at 147. And if that breaks, it could get ugly. That would go along with the bear market for Bitcoin. Otherwise, if we get support here, I still have this target around 271, and that's a measured move of this Adam and Eve here. So that's where I'm at with that. And Ethereum, we broke down below our rising channel here. We are now back inside it, but we are getting rejected on the EMAs here. We're getting rejected at 21 EMA. So a breakdown below this could take us down to about actually about around the $1,000 range, which I don't think it would go straight down. All these targets, by the way, guys, they take time. They're not just straight candles like people think. And a lot of people are new, don't understand that. Every little push in Bitcoin, they think it's either going to the moon or going to zero. It's not how it works. But anyways, that gets us around a $1,000 Bitcoin. And if it, you know, as you can see, the 200 EMA is rising here, so that could be around March, June, whatever. We'll keep an eye on it. But let's see if we're able to break up and out of the top of this, depending on where it would break, if it would. Could be looking at a $25,000 to $27,000 Bitcoin. Or I'm sorry, Ethereum. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the channel, check out my wife's webpage, inkyourimage.com. A lot of cool gift ideas. She can put anything you want on any of this stuff. It's quality stuff, not garbage. There's also a Bitcoin and Litecoin section, any crypto really. But anyways, check it out. There's a link below, inkyourimage.com. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking your CryptoSavvy logo above my head. Smash that like button. Leave your comments down below to win either the Ledger Nano S or the $500 Prime XBT free giveaway. I also have Prime XBT links down below. You can sign up and get your account ready. Try it if you want. Just don't go crazy. Don't over leverage. Use risk management, and always use stop losses. Take it easy, guys. I'm out.